Daniel Carter almost canceled the blind date. After all, life as a poor single father didn't leave much room for awkward dinners with strangers. But his sister insisted. "You deserve at least one evening for yourself," she told him. So Daniel arrived at the small restaurant, nervous but hopeful. What he didn't expect was to see a woman sitting alone at the table, quietly wiping tears from her eyes. And when she finally looked up, Daniel felt his heart drop. Because the woman crying in front of him wasn't a stranger. She was Sophia Bennett, the powerful CEO of the company where he worked as a maintenance technician. The most shocking part wasn't that she was there. It was the broken sentence she whispered a few minutes later. "Everyone thinks I have everything, but the truth is, I've never felt more alone." And by the end of that night, Daniel would hear a secret from Sophia that would change both of their lives forever. Daniel Carter had never imagined his life turning out this way. 5 years earlier, everything had seemed perfect. He had a loving wife, a steady job, and a small but happy home. But life has a strange way of changing everything overnight. After his wife passed away due to a sudden illness, Daniel became the only parent to their young son, Ethan. From that moment on, Daniel's entire world revolved around one responsibility. Being the father Ethan deserved. Money was tight. Daniel worked long hours at Bennett Global, a massive corporation that dominated the city's business world. His job was simple: maintenance and building support. Fixing lights. Repairing broken equipment. Making sure the offices ran smoothly. Most employees never noticed him. They walked past with coffee cups and expensive suits while Daniel carried his toolbox through the hallways. But Daniel never complained. Because every paycheck meant another month of stability for Ethan. Another month of school lunches, rent, and bedtime stories. Still, loneliness sometimes crept into Daniel's life late at night. That's why his sister insisted he try a blind date. "You can't spend your whole life working and worrying," she told him. Reluctantly, Daniel agreed. The restaurant his date chose was elegant, far nicer than the places Daniel usually visited. He felt slightly uncomfortable walking inside wearing his best but simple jacket. The hostess pointed him toward a quiet table in the corner. When Daniel approached, he noticed something unusual. The woman sitting there was staring down at her hands, trying to wipe tears from her face. Daniel hesitated. "Are you Emily?" he asked softly. The woman looked up. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Daniel felt his stomach drop. Sophia Bennett. The CEO of Bennett Global stared back at him in equal shock. "Daniel," she whispered. Both of them froze. Sophia quickly looked around the restaurant nervously. "Please," she said quietly, "don't say my name so loudly." Daniel sat down slowly. "This is unexpected." Sophia laughed weakly. "You could say that." Apparently, both of their friends had set up the blind date without revealing their identities. But something else was clearly wrong. Sophia looked exhausted. Not the confident, powerful leader everyone saw in the office. Just a woman who looked deeply hurt. Daniel finally asked the question that had been sitting in the air since he arrived. "Were you crying?" Sophia looked away. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she whispered something so honest it stunned Daniel. "Everyone thinks my life is perfect." She paused. "But tonight I realized something terrible." Daniel waited quietly. Sophia's voice trembled slightly. "The man I thought loved me was only interested in my money and position." Daniel felt a painful sympathy in his chest. He knew what it felt like to lose someone you believed in. For the first time that evening, Sophia looked directly at him. "And the worst part," she continued. "I almost married him." Daniel didn't know what to say. But somehow, the strange blind date was turning into something neither of them expected. Two people from completely different worlds, sharing the same table, carrying very different kinds of pain. As the evening continued, the awkward tension slowly disappeared. Daniel and Sophia began talking honestly. About life. About loss. About the strange pressure that came with responsibility. Sophia admitted something she had never told anyone at work. Running a billion-dollar company had cost her almost every personal relationship she once had. People treated her differently once they learned who she was. Some were afraid. Some wanted favors. Others only cared about her wealth. But very few treated her like a normal person. Daniel listened quietly. "I understand that more than you might think," he said. Sophia raised an eyebrow. "You do?" Daniel nodded. "When my wife passed away, everyone treated me differently too." "How?" "Like I was fragile," Daniel explained. "Like they expected me to fall apart." Sophia studied him thoughtfully. "But you didn't." Daniel smiled slightly. "I didn't have the luxury." "Why?" Daniel pulled out his phone and showed her a picture. A small boy with messy hair and a huge smile. "My son," he said proudly. "Ethan." Sophia looked at the photo and smiled warmly. "He's adorable." Daniel leaned back slightly. "Being his father forced me to keep going. Even when things were hard." Sophia suddenly felt something unexpected. Respect. Not the professional respect she gave executives. But something deeper. Here was a man who struggled financially, worked long hours, and raised a child alone, yet still carried quiet strength. Something many wealthy people she knew lacked. At the end of the evening, Sophia sighed softly. "I'm glad our friends made this mistake." Daniel laughed. "Me too." But then Sophia said something that surprised him. "You know something strange?" "What?" "For the first time in months, I feel like someone is talking to me, not to the CEO." Daniel shrugged. "I'm not great at talking to CEOs." Sophia smiled gently. "That's exactly why I like talking to you." When they left the restaurant, the city lights shimmered around them. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Sophia said quietly, "Sometimes the people who look like they have the least, actually have the most important things." Daniel looked confused. "What do you mean?" Sophia glanced at the photo of Ethan on Daniel's phone again. "Purpose. Love. Family." She paused before adding softly, "And the courage to keep going." Daniel realized something in that moment. Sometimes life brings people together in the most unexpected ways. A blind date. A broken heart. And two strangers discovering that strength doesn't come from wealth or power.